Hi everyone, I'm Joel Watson, Deputy Secretary of State for Communications for Louisiana Secretary of State Nancy Landry. And joining me today is Melanie Montanaro, who is the Louisiana State Archivist. Melanie, happy American Archives Month.
Thank you very much. We love celebrating archives all year long, but October's our month.
Well, we love archives year-round here, of course, and you do a great job over at the archives along with your fantastic staff. Can you tell folks why the archives are so important?
The Archives is a statutorily mandated entity which is tasked with identifying, collecting, preserving, maintaining, and making available to the public the records of the government which tell the story of our history and our administrative history, our cultural history. So primarily it's governmental records, but we have other things as well that help to tell that story.
Can you talk about any of your favorite documents or exhibits or artifacts that the Archives houses?
I would have to say that some of my favorites include the West Florida Constitution. It was given to us many years ago now by a descendant of Fulworth Skipwith, who was a member of the group which was involved with the whole West Florida Republic establishment. And so it was very unexpected that we got that document, but it's a very interesting and unique part of our history, which some people don't really know about. I also have to say I like some of our artifacts. We have our Jimmy Davis's saddle. In our current exhibit, we have the costume worn by the mascots for the 1984 New Orleans World's Fair, Seymour de Fair, the pelican, which is very popular, and the alligator costume, which we don't really know the name of for sure. It's been difficult to document. But so those are some artifacts that are kind of cool. But we have a variety of materials, mostly paper and mostly government documents. But we've got a lot of interesting stuff that I think people would be surprised to know we have.
And speaking of Seymour de Fair, let's talk a little bit about the exhibit that the Archives is currently hosting through mid-December.
Sure. Our current exhibit, which is going through December 13th, is entitled America's Last Fair, the 1984 Louisiana World Exposition, more commonly known as or referred to as the New Orleans World's Fair. It was 40 years ago that the fair occurred, and we've decided to celebrate that anniversary because it was a big one. Not as big as 50, but getting there. And we have a huge collection of materials related to the fair because the commission which put the fair on donated all those materials, transferred them to us many years ago. It's a massive collection. And so it gave us a really good reason to do a good inventory, see what we have, and share that information in an exhibit. And we also borrowed a lot of items and materials and photographs from the public. We put out a call to the public on social media because we knew a lot of people were very fond of the World's Fair, particularly those in the New Orleans area. But it really brought a huge response and added a lot to our exhibit. We also have a gondola car from the gondola that went across the Mississippi River during the fair, and that's kind of a cool little item. And we have like I mentioned, the costumes that the mascots wore, Seymour de Fair and the alligator. And so it's really been an interesting exhibit. We've had a lot of interest in it from the public. It was a kind of a walk down memory lane for a lot of people who lived through that time. And it's a very educational experience for those who maybe weren't even born when the fair was held. So it's been fun. It's been a fun exhibit to have up.
And, last year you did an exhibit on some of the posters that were displayed during World War I and that part of our history. Can you give us any sort of hint as to what's coming in 2025?
Sure. 2025 is going to kind of be a year focused on art. But I will tell you that our first exhibit will be, we're planning for it. We don't have an opening date set yet, but it'll probably be opening in January. And it will be the artwork of the Baton Rouge Art League. The Baton Rouge Art League is an organization that has been around for decades, and as long as I've worked here, and that's 33 years, the Archives has sort of been their storage, you could say, of their collection because they don't have a physical location. And so their artwork has hung in our halls, which we've enjoyed, but a lot of the work does not get seen by the public because it's in an area of the building which is not accessible to the public. normally. So we decided that maybe a good thing to do would be to bring their works out and display them so that their membership and the public could appreciate what they've been collecting for many years. Many of their, they have, I don't know how many, probably 20 works that are from the WPA era and by some artists that are very well known, and then they collect works every year. So we won't be able to show all of them, but because they have over 100. But we'll show a good portion of them, and we're excited, and they're very excited to work with us on this. They're excited to have their membership be able to come and see what they're all about.
It sounds like a good time, and should be another great exhibit from the archives.
I think so.
Going back to just the day-to-day functions of the archives, how can people utilize the resources that the archives has?
Sure. Yeah. Most of the public access is through our research library. People can come into our research library. They can access our database of our collection materials there. They can request to see items and materials that way. They also, a lot of people come into our library to do genealogical research with other types of records that we have in the library. So we do get a lot of that type of work, but we also have our database is searchable online through our website. You just go to the sos.la.gov website and look for the Historical Resources tab at the top right, and you'll find all the different pages related to the archives, and the one that says Research Historical Records will bring you to the portal for our database. But really, we're here to serve, so if anybody has questions, they can always call. Our staff will help to find what they're looking for if we're able to. We also, our facility gets rented out by groups. We have an auditorium and a gallery space that groups will sometimes have meetings in. So if we have reasonable prices, and so groups and individuals are welcome to contact us about that as well. We're all about outreach and doing what we can to serve the public, and just like we're excited to be yet again an early voting site. A popular one at that. Right.
And going to this idea that some folks could even utilize the archives from home or from a computer anywhere. Talk about the digital media archives that you just relaunched with Louisiana Public Broadcasting.
Right. Yes. Our archives this is a pretty unique situation. I believe it was the first, it might be the only one of its kind, but we have partnered many years ago with our Louisiana Public Broadcasting to have not all, but hopefully one day all of our digital assets, film and video, on a searchable database that we share with them. And we've just redone the website so that it's more user-friendly. The two entities can be searched separately, which is helpful because then you're just not getting a mix of if you're looking for something specific. But it's a really, really great, way for us to connect with the public, and the public can see these films and videos that probably we're getting collections. We have so many collections that were obtained from news stations. So it's historical footage, and sometimes we don't know what's on it because it's in a different format. And so every year we're getting more and more of that film transferred to digital, and then we have to look at it and see what we've got. And so sometimes we don't even know until we get it back from the transfer house, and the archivists are looking through it, and they'll be like, "Oh, cool! Come see what I found," because it can range from the very historic to sort of very mundane. But even those mundane things, we've had members of the public contact our staff because their father was in an organization and they heard he was on some video, and we were able to find it and give them a clip of it, and it might have been the only time they heard his voice or saw him because he died before, things like that. It's just very personal sometimes. But we also get a lot of requests for our footage from the History Channel and filmmakers like Spike Lee, and so it's just a very different sort of thing to the documentary side of things.
And there's a lot of really great archival footage on there from as early as the 1930s, and there's something for everybody. I found, from football fans who love the LSU Tigers. There's some footage from the earliest days of Tiger Stadium, and it's great because we're celebrating the 100th anniversary of that this year, all the way to election results and political news, and so there's so much for everybody on that website and at the archives as a whole.
Absolutely, and that's the great thing about it is we are not just for government. We are for the people. We are for, the people who live in this state, who were born and raised here, who maybe will move here, and they want to learn about what we are and who we are, and that's what we're about, preserving that legacy.
Well, can you tell us how folks can find out more information if they want to learn more about the archives?
Well, every October in Archives Month, we do have an open house, which we publicize on our social media. We've already held it this year, so it's already passed, but we're also open for people who want to come on tours. We just ask that they contact us in advance so we can make sure things are, set up correctly and we have everything available. But they can go to our website, which I just mentioned earlier. We also have a Facebook and an Instagram page. Just go to search for Louisiana State Archives and follow and like us. And we're trying to put some messages out there about events that we're having, speaker events, exhibits that are on, upcoming, save the dates, that sort of thing. So we're trying to do more and more outreach in those ways, and but we're always also open to suggestions. But they're always able to come in to the building. We're open 8 to 4:30. Our office hours. Our library is only open until 4 o'clock, 8 to 4, because we have to have the staff have time to reshelve and put things away properly before the end of the day. But yeah, they can come in to our library, come and see the art shows that are in our gallery space that rotate monthly or bi-monthly. Right now we have the Associated Women of the Arts curated show in there, and that'll be there through November. So it's happening place.
Sure. Well, that's it, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget to visit sos.la.gov or like the Louisiana Secretary of State and the Louisiana State Archives on Facebook and on Instagram. Thank you for joining us.